Hello all and welcome. And I am the Realist Philosopher, and this is the Realist Philosopher call-in show. So how you all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. I'm going to open the phone lines up in just a minute. I just wanted to say I will be commenting on a letter somebody sent me. You may already know. I posted the subject in a couple places where I posted about this show. And it's a very interesting letter. I wanted to talk about it, and hopefully the person that wrote the letter will call in. But if he doesn't want to, I understand. Maybe he wants to maintain his anonymity, although I'm not going to use his real name. I'm not going to use his workplace. I'm not going to use anything about him, let alone the state. But maybe he's afraid somebody might recognize his voice and put two and two together, what with all the other details about how many kids he's got and his own age, which I don't really need to reveal any of those details. But if I did, I guess he's afraid that all that put together might enable people to find out who he is and know that it's him that this letter is from. So I can understand if he doesn't want to call in. I do ask, though, that he watch and that he answer some questions for me in email form later so that I can address this in my next podcast, because I have a lot of questions. And, of course, it would be ideal if I could speak to the person that wrote this letter directly on the show. You know, we don't live in an ideal world. We don't always get what we want. So, you know, if he calls in, he calls in. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Anyway, I'm going to open up the phone lines here. And if he doesn't call in within the first 10 minutes, any of you that want to comment on the letter or what I'm talking about at the moment in regards to what he put in the letter, you can feel free to call in. But just give it 10 minutes to see if he calls in before you yourself start calling in, okay? Yeah, I'm sure there's a huge stampede of people rushing to the phone. All right, so let's open Skype. Oy vey, fucking uploading a new version for me. How wonderful. And I didn't even choose to upload a new version. Don't you hate that? You have software, and the software itself decides that it's going to upload a new version of itself. Not that that's a bad thing or anything, but it's a little inconvenient as far as the timing. All right. Let me see. All right, so he hasn't answered my last message to him in text on Skype, so whether or not he calls in, who knows. And by the way, guys, I want you to know this, all right? Just so you know, I've seen some people typing comments into the comment section on YouTube trying to address me directly. Don't. The comment section is there for my fans to interact with each other. I do not view the fan page, the comment page directly, okay? I'll look afterwards. I mean, if you have some questions, you don't feel like emailing me, you can put them in the comments. I'll go back. I look at the broadcast later, but I don't watch the whole thing. So your best bet is if you have a question, you have a comment, you want a subject that you want me to address, is to email me. And you'll see the email right in the upper right-hand corner of this broadcast. Also, if you'd like to donate, you can do so. TheRealistPhilosopher.com/donate. That's TheRealistPhilosopher.com/donate. Yes, I have my own website. Excuse me, I have a cold. It's gotten a little better. And, of course, the website is TheRealistPhilosopher.com. If you want to contact the show, the phone number is in the upper left-hand corner, and it's 623-242-2517. That's 623-242-2517. If you're in the continental United States and you have a cell phone, you probably have a cell phone plan, which means you can probably call me for free, right? Usually when you have these plans, they have unlimited minutes within the continental United States. If you're outside the United States and you don't want to make a phone call, or maybe you have international minutes, I don't know. But if you don't, just Skype me at The Realist Philosopher. That's The Realist Philosopher. That is my Skype. Okay, so let's get to the letter, shall we? Excuse me. Got a bin there for spitting. That's disgusting, I know. All right, but I assume you're all men, so you have strong stomachs, right? So you can handle it just so long as you don't see the actual phlegm. Because that would be kind of disgusting. All right, so let's get to the letter here. All right, so this is from he gave me a couple names. He wants me to call them. I'm not going to call them either of them. One of them's too difficult to remember, and it's not even an English name, and the other is just, you know, his name, but with a noun added to it. So I'm not going to do that either. I'm going to call you John, okay? That's easy to remember. The most generic name out there, at least in Christendom. You know, if you were Muslim, I'd call you Muhammad. If you were Latino, I'd call you Jesus. But I'm assuming you're a white guy. I don't know if you're a white guy. Doesn't matter. But we're in America. You're in America, so I'm going to use a fake Western name, John. So he begins by saying, I just wanted to say that I love the podcasts. Thank you very much. By the way, those 54 are not the only set of podcasts I made. I made another 57 podcasts under a different name, the links to which you can find in the description of my SoundCloud page podcast. So go there and you'll find the link there. He listened to them on Google Play. I guess I'm remiss. There's a whole bunch of different platforms that, including iTunes, that you can listen to this on, but I didn't put them in the description so you can listen. I don't know. Don't give me a break. I'm a busy guy. So he said he found it originally on Google Play, and he still hasn't listened to all 54 podcasts yet. What am I doing? I'm exposition here. Expositioning. No. I should be reading in the, okay, first person. All right. So just want to say I love the podcast. Google Play is where I found you originally, and I still haven't listened to all 54 podcasts yet. But I listen to one every day and on my way to and from work. Well, I'm making this call-in show now, so you can listen to that too. And now that you know about the other 57 and where to find the link to those, you can listen to those as well. So you have hundreds of hours of listening. It keeps me from losing my mind due to the morons that I am forced to interact with on our way to wage slavery. I read the TFM bullshit. Woo! And it was clear to me that the majority of MGTOW YouTubers are not MGTOW. I only have one thing to say about that. You're right. Most of them are just opportunists. Anyway, he goes on to say, never married, but have 3 daughters. Oh boy, I got to blow my nose for this one. I'm going to need some time. And a deep breath. John, what the fuck were you thinking, man? 3 kids? What the hell's going on with you? You have 3 daughters, and you're not married, never been married. Why? Why? I don't understand. You never heard of a condom? These broads that you bang never heard of birth control pills? What the hell's going on here? I mean, you ever think of marrying any of these broads? Nah, I just wanted to stoop them. You mind if I asked your ethnicity, if you're white or black? It's just because, I'm curious, that's all. He has 3 daughters with 2 women by the age... Whoa! You've had 3 daughters with 2 women by the age of 25? Oh, boy. Let me guess, you grew up in a single mother household? I'm just guessing here, but sounds like somebody raised by a single mommy. Because I think if there was a father around, he would have discussed the kind of things that would, make this kind of thing less likely. Birth control, the consequences of unprotected sex, and all that jazz. Women don't generally like to discuss those things, right? Too practical, too pragmatic, and might make them uncomfortable. It's all about the feels. 25. You had 3 kids by 25. Oh, my God. First question would be, number 1, where was the birth control? Where was the contraception? Number 2, what age this... Oh, okay, I see. I can see right here. All right, he goes on to say his age and the ages of the girls. 18, 16, 13. You spaced them out pretty evenly, huh? 3-year gap, 2-year gap. Oh, boy. So you had a long time in between these kids. Didn't you learn a lesson? Wasn't there a lesson learned? Wow. I don't want that happening again. Ooh, wow. I don't want that happening again. Ooh, whoa. Hey, I want it to happen again, I guess. What the fuck? I mean, I'm not trying to be hard on you, my friend, but what the hell's going on here? What were you thinking? Obviously you weren't, or you were thinking with a certain part of yourself that it doesn't do much thinking. It's get to it, baby. Yeah, that's about all the thinking that part does. Knocked both up within a month of dating. Well, you're fertile, okay? You have a lot. No, it's virility, right? For a man, it's virility, right? He's virile. You're virile, I'll give you that. Within a month. Oh, my God. Guess my boys don't swim too good. Jesus Christ. I was an oblivious and ignorant teenager. Oh, come on. Wait. Okay, so I'm looking at the ages here, and then I'm looking at your current age, but we'll get to that. You were no teenager and ignorant. Yeah, another. Well, what do you mean ignorant? I'm confused here. I always have to ask myself, why do people use this defense of ignorance when you know how biology works, right? You know, you insert this into this, and 9 months later, a kid could pop out. You know that's the consequence, right? You know the pull-out method don't work, right? That don't work. I mean, these are pretty common sense things, right? I don't get her pregnant if I put it in here, but I get her pregnant if I put it down there. I mean, what do you mean ignorance? You're not ignorant of these things. What did you grow up, a Amish person, and your parents never talked about sex? You didn't know that putting it in would get you pregnant? I think even the Amish know that. They got fucking farm animals having sex and popping out fucking calves and shit. You're not ignorant. Come on. You know me. You've listened to my content. Did you really expect me to take it easy on you or fall for this? Come on. That's BS. Ignorant my ass. So he goes on to say, I have been bent over by the family court system. Yeah, well, look where you decided to be irresponsible. I'm assuming you're from America, right? Good Lord. There ain't too many more gynocentric countries than America. They do exist. Sweden, UK, but not too many, right? Yeah, so that's on you. So, yeah, been over by the family court system in every way imaginable over the last 18 years. Well, you've only got 5 more years. Fuck. So I'm 39 years old. All right, let's do the math, okay, Professor, because you apparently didn't think I could do math because you're saying you were an oblivious and ignorant teenager, but you just told me the age of your oldest kid and your age, so I can do math. So 39, 29, 19, okay, so maybe you were 19 when you banged the girl and she had to get it 20. Okay, so you've got the teenager card for the first one, which, by the way, doesn't really mean anything to me. I don't give a fuck. What does that mean? You say teenager, you're automatically off the hook for responsibility? I don't know what that means. Did you think I wouldn't call you to task? Come on. So, but what about the second and third one? What's your excuse for number 2, which was 2 years later and you were 21 pushing 22? Or number 3, that you had it 25? What's the excuse there? I was a tweenager. Or 20. There's no 20s. I was in my 20s, 20. I was a 20-year. What? There's always some kind of excuse, right? Come on. Hey, come on, you really have no excuse, right? Really? Come on. Men were working by age 14, having kids by 15, 16, 100 years ago. You're much older than they were. Yeah, come on, no excuse, really. Yeah. All right, so he's 39 years old now, making about $80K a year. It's okay. I have no doubt you'd be doing better if you didn't have these kids and these exes weighing you down. They tend to do that, even if they're not in your lives, okay? But that's not too bad. It's not horrible. That's better than average, actually. I think the median income in America is $44,000, so you're almost double that. So that's actually quite good. In a construction career over the last 13 years, and I am done with women. I wonder why. 3 kids by the age of 25. Yeah, I'd be done too. Fucking A. Okay, so minus the pump and dumps, of course. Well, yeah, of course. You got to have those, right? Still have biological needs, right? All right. So here's the concerning part in the final paragraph. My daughters are being indoctrinated by their liberal mothers. Who I'm assuming around the same age as you. So, yeah, they're feminists, progressive intersectional feminists, and some of them are probably bi or think they are. Yeah. Nothing worse than lesbo, bi, intersectional, progressive, radical feminists. Believe me, that's radical. Fuck me. You poor bastard, you. Well, who made you pick them? All right, so I mean, these are the broads you picked, right? I'm guessing they were a lot like Mommy. All right, so my daughters are being indoctrinated by their liberal mothers and their liberal public school system, of course. You know, the public schools are nothing more than an indoctrination center for the sheeple to go and get taught about how to be good tax livestock and serve the machine, the man, the government, not yourself, especially if you're a man. Yes, you're a useful breeding tool and workhorse. That's it. You have your own aspirations? Fuck that. You need to work for Wayman. So he goes on to say, I don't want to come across as an angry white man when talking about the ills of feminism with them. Oh, wait a second. I think I'm going to go through all my tissue paper real quick here. All right. Wait, what? I got distracted by the tissue paper. What? We got to go back here. I don't want to come across as an angry white man. Wait. Oh, you say you're a white guy. Okay. I forgot that part. As opposed to what? Wait. So I don't want to come across as angry. Why not? Wait. What's wrong with being an angry white man? Nobody gives angry black people a problem. How about those black Israelites that were attacking those Covington kids, right? Verbally and screaming at them for hours about how they're, I don't know. They were saying some weird shit I can't remember, to be honest. But they were pretty aggressive. They were angry. How about that little fucking Native American, Nathan Phillips? Banging that fucking drum. Screaming in that kid's face. He was angry. You done stole my land, European boy. Go home, even though you're not indigenous either. Your people came over here about 15,000 years ago on an ice land bridge, okay? You're no more native to America than I am, bitch. So fuck off. But, yeah, you little fake, fraud, phony. I was a Vietnam veteran. Then he says, I was a Vietnam Times veteran. Okay. Whatever that means. Really, it was fucking fixing refrigerators, right? But he's allowed to be angry. Why can't you be angry? I don't understand this. Why don't you want to come across as an angry black man? What's wrong with being angry? What if you got something to be angry about? What if somebody bashes into the back of your fucking car? You gonna be angry? What if somebody clocks you in the fucking face because you're wearing a MAGA hat? You allowed to get angry then? I don't understand this. Well, what is this apologetic attitude of yours that you're not allowed to get angry, or you're afraid to get angry, or you feel you'd have to apologize, you have no right to be angry because you somehow oppress somebody? My skin color doesn't allow me to be angry. I'm confused. All right, so I don't want to come across as an angry white man when talking about the ills of feminism with them. Yeah, are your exes angry? They're women, right? They're women, so I'm guessing they're pretty angry people. Just generally speaking, because, no man wants them. Are they married? Are they remarried, or are these single women? I bet they're all three. Wait, how many did he say? 2, or is it 3? So 2 women. I bet they're both single. Oy vey. Either they're both single, or one of them is married to some soy boy stepdaddy who's a real wimp, pushover, doormat, right? So he's not a good example of what a real man is either, because he's probably a male feminist. So yeah, no learning by example there. But I need to red pill my girls before it's too late. Any advice? Why didn't you contact me years ago? Fuck me. The oldest is 18. I think the ship has sailed, maybe, on that one. The hell you been doing for the past 18, 16, and 13 years that you haven't been red pilling them? Where you been? Did they come to your house? Do you get visitation of any kind? Do you avail yourself of this visitation? And by the way, I'm going to be honest with you, all right? This sounds like a cop-out to me. Like you're just too afraid to confront your kids or be difficult with them because you want them to like you because they only see daddy twice a month or once a month. So you want to make it all fun and rainbows and confetti and shit. You can't be your fucking kids' friends, pal. You can't be their friends. You have to be an authority figure, and they have to learn it by example. So you got to have balls. So they figure real men have balls. Where are your balls? Where's your spine? What is this? I don't want to come across as an angry white man bullshit. Good Lord. Feel free to come across as an angry white man. Feel free to be an alpha male. Feel free to exercise your testosterone and your balls, if you still have them, and be a real man. Go up to these girls and say, look, we got to sit down. We got to fucking talk. Don't call them bitches. But, you got to be hard and tough with these girls. You can't be a pushover. 18, oh my God. Jesus Christ, that's already 18? Yikes. Oh boy. I don't know, man. Maybe the ship has sailed with that one. It's hard to say. I mean, yeah, she's not in university yet, at least I hope, but probably going to go there because, you got to have a 4-year degree to type and file and do dictation. Yeah. Wayman's got to get that fucking college degree, right? Oh boy. Yeah. Any advice? Well, I mean, do you ever see these? So I got some questions. First of all, how often do you see them? Are their mothers remarried, or do they just go through lots of men? What are the mothers' views on men? Or are they hardcore feminists? You said they're indoctrinating them into liberalism. Okay. In what way? What kind of views do your daughters have? Have you challenged these views, or have you just sat silently as you're eating your, I don't know, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and listened to their crap and not responded because you were afraid to cause waves? See, this is the thing. You're not really a single father, because I'm guessing that by your words you don't have custody. She has custody. So, I mean, you're a single father, I mean, hypothetically speaking, right? Because you're single and you're their father, but they don't live with you. So your mother, excuse me, your wife, Freudian slip there. Like I said, she's probably a lot like your mother. We'll get to that if I ever talk to you. But, yeah, you have very little influence, obviously. So when you do have time with them, you should be spending it talking. You got to teach these kids. I mean, I don't know what you've been doing for the past 18, 16, 13 years. They're all girls? Oh, my God. No men? I guess the family name's going to die with you, huh? Unless you have brothers, of course. Or cousins, right, obviously. So it probably won't die with you. Well, you're white, so I don't know. Maybe your parents didn't have many kids. Maybe you're the only one. I don't know. But, yeah. Look, they're your kids. You see, this is the thing. I see this a lot. I see that it's the guilty father, right? I don't get to spend a lot of time with them. I feel guilty. They've been deprived somehow. It's my fault. So I really want to make my time with them as pleasurable, and I want to impose on them as little as possible and all this crap. Making me gag, pal. Look, you have to be a man. You have to be a reflection of what a real man is. You got to sit down with these kids and talk to them. All right. So I spoke to the fellow who we're going to call John. Now, some of you might have actually heard this interview until it was cut off by a bad connection. Some of you may not have. And the reason I removed the interview, there's several. One, I didn't feel it was going anywhere. I felt I was getting a lot of resistance from John, which isn't his real name, by the way. But, whatever. We need to call him something, right? I felt I was getting a lot of resistance. I didn't feel I was getting the details in enough quantity that I needed to actually make any kind of realistic assessment. And like I said, I felt like I was getting a lot of pushback. Also, the fellow insulted me at one point while I was speculating. Again, I wasn't getting a lot of information from the fellow. And so, I'm just throwing stuff at the wall, spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks, because I'm not really getting enough information, enough details to come to some kind of conclusion. So I'm trying to feel the guy out, see exactly what is going on. I can do that if I have enough information, but it's not like I sent the guy a questionnaire or even had a chance to interview him or even talk to him before the show. So, I'm flying blind essentially except for his letter. So, yeah. Now, Yes, I can understand that some of the questions might have made him uncomfortable. Maybe he didn't want to go down a certain avenue, and there was another one that he wanted to go down. But I felt it was important, essentially. So let me just go over, not too much in detail, but the general aspects of the interview with him. So, in his initial letter, as you'll remember, that I read, he wanted to know essentially how to red pill his daughters. I mean, good luck with that. You have enough time red pilling boys raised by their mothers with no father figure, let alone girls. But I saw some issues with John that he would essentially get with two women and have three kids before the age of 25. I saw some red flags. I saw some unresolved issues that must be percolating there under the surface. You know, where there's smoke, generally there's fire. Not always, but oftentimes. So I felt it was necessary to probe a little deeper and learn a little bit about John's family history, where he comes from and such. And that was not easy. That was not easy. As I said, a lot of pushback, and he made a derogatory comment at one point that was just well over the line, and I just realized, okay, this is going nowhere, and this is pretty much going nowhere. So I'm just going to address his question, and I'm not going to try to get into any of the other stuff. Yes, I was trying to help him. Yes, I could have helped him. Possibly. I think that if we want to solve current problems, we first have to know where those problems have come from. What's the actual cause? Yeah, sure, I can try to fight the symptom, or I can solve the problem at that which is creating it. He didn't really seem interested in doing that. I tried to explain, and maybe he didn't grasp that that's what I was trying to do, but I did explain that, I thought, very well. I thought it was pretty clear. He didn't seem to think there were any issues that needed to be solved, and that the only issue was his kids are being indoctrinated into feminism by two women who he decided to have kids with out of wedlock before the age of 25, and he thinks that the kids being indoctrinated into feminism is the actual problem and not just a symptom of a bigger issue. He doesn't get that, doesn't want to get that. That's fine. So I'll just address the symptom and not the cause, and he can work it out with what advice I'm going to give him, and he can address the symptom, and to hell with the cause. That's fine. So, John, you want to know how to essentially solve the problem of your exes being indoctrinated into feminism. Well, I'm not sure how effective you'll be at doing that unless you sit down and talk to them about why you got with women who would indoctrinate them into a death cult ideology to begin with. You see, feminism, it is a death cult. It leads to the death of nations, the death of people, because feminism is really just another name for Marxism, and we know how many people that's killed, 100 to 200 million. We got feminism killed 40 million white babies, God knows how many black babies. Yes, embracing abortion, liberation, do whatever you want, consequence free. Of course, there's consequences, but women don't generally suffer those consequences. It's oftentimes men who do. We're paying out the nose, people, paying out the freaking nose for the mistakes of women, and we're continuing to do so. So for your daughters to have any real insight into the evils of feminism, you would have to be able to explain to them why, just why, you partnered up with these two women and had 3 kids with them. This is why I wanted to get more into your history, because the only way that you're going to actually convince your daughters of anything is to make some kind of deep, meaningful, emotional connection with them. It doesn't work very well to lecture young people, especially young women. Doesn't work well at all, okay? They don't work very well on the plane of logic and reason and critical thinking. What they do work very well on is the emotional plane. And so you're going to have to make a connection with them. Okay, and to a certain extent, that would be the case with boys as well, if they were your kids. But it's definitely necessary with girls. You're going to have to explain to them the negative effects feminism has had on you, what feminism did to put you into a place in your life where you had kids with, shacked up with horrible feminist women who had no respect for men, and what the consequences of that feminism, what the consequences of those women embracing feminism had upon you, and how it has harmed your life and their lives too, because they don't have a father around. You see, John, when we were talking, it was very obvious to me at certain points that you were chafing at what I was saying, that you didn't seem to get it, or you didn't want to get it, and hence the resistance that I met. Maybe now that I've explained, you understand a little better. The truth of the matter is, you cannot just go and preach at them, okay? They're too old, for one. I mean, they're too old, okay? All right, that's number one. Not that age makes that much of a difference, but you know, if you're trying to indoctrinate your kids, if you're trying to teach your kids a better way, it's certainly going to work at a younger age. And that said, you're fighting the teaching, the indoctrination into the evil, death cult ideology that is feminism of two clearly feminist women. So you just explaining things in the abstract, it's not going to work, all right? You're going to have to get down into the particulars, into the personal effects it has had on you. See, this is what I was trying to get to, and this was what I wanted to explore. This is why I wanted to get to the root of what caused you to make such atrocious life choices, which you did, something you didn't really seem to want to cop to. You're going to have to know why you made these horrible life choices, and you're going to have to explain that to your daughters. And so for those of you out there listening who didn't hear my conversation with John, I'll go into a little bit of detail so that you have some idea contextually of what I'm talking about. So John had a mother, but she left at the age of 5. She just abandoned the family, disappeared. Consequently, she's dead now, he said, from the side effects of a long life of functional alcoholism, but alcoholism nonetheless. So no mother in the household. So the father, who it appears is a beta male, or of course John said, no, not a beta male. I don't know what you would call a guy that lives with his mother, if not a beta male, but he, rigorously denied that his father was a beta male. I don't understand that at all. Of course, this kind of defense of the only parent a person has is pretty common. And I'm not surprised by this level of denial, especially considering that John told me himself that he follows in his father's footsteps. So to attack the father, or to allow someone else to attack the father, is to attack himself. So, of course, he wasn't going to allow that. So the mother left when he was 5, said he doesn't have much memory of her. Lived with his grandmother essentially his whole life. I think the father might have as well. The father pretty much was non-existent, he said, worked a lot, and the grandmother was the one who did the majority of the raising. And it turns out from questioning him that the grandmother was a strict authoritarian. From just the little bit that he told me, the little bit I was able to get out of him, he was in no way, shape, or form willing to go into great amounts of detail without being cajoled. He essentially pretty much painted a picture of a strict disciplinarian, not moderate, over-the-top authoritarian parent, trying to fill in for a mother, I guess, or not really trying to fill in for a mother or be a mother at all. She was in no way, shape, or form maternal. From what he told me, she was in no way, shape, or form feminine, that she didn't in any way, shape, or form act female. She didn't offer any form of soft place to land. She was essentially the rough, tough 1940s father but in overdrive, and there was no mother there to act as a counter. So essentially lots of fire and no ice, nothing to balance out the strict discipline of the father with the caring, nurturing side of the mother. So very imbalanced household. So that by definition is dysfunctional. Now, I wasn't able to get the more details. Was he abused? Did she hit? Did she hit on the mouth? Did she spank? But again, the picture he painted for me was one that was very stark and it felt kind of bleak to me, but there was no question that she was a very authoritarian parent. And then he let me know that he was a very rebellious teen, got into a lot of trouble. His brother went to jail as a teenager for accessory to murder. So this to me is very easy to understand why this happened, okay, upon reflection. And it didn't take much either. Is that what's simply happening here is you have a father, he's not there. You have no parental counterbalance to strict disciplinary parenting without emotion or affection, okay? And yes, boys do need some of that at least. And the more disciplinarian the parent, the more of that you're going to need from the mother. The mother and the father are supposed to balance each other out to create a functional, stable household. Imbalance means dysfunction. So whenever you have authoritarian parents without a counterbalance in the form of a mother to counter the father's strict law and order with her, it's been called chaos, okay, with her soft side, you could say, all right, with her empathy, what you get are rebellious children. And their rebellion tends to run parallel with the level of discipline and authoritarianism that exists within the household. The more disciplined and authoritarian the parent, without some counterpoint, without some soft place to land, without some kind of compassion, empathy, without the maternal side that the mother provides, you get ever more levels of dysfunction and rebellion from the teenagers, from the kids. Now, of course, let's be honest, rebellion to a certain extent is normal with children. And in fact, it would be abnormal if you didn't see some. But the level of rebellion that leads to crime and murder charges, that's quite over the top. That's quite over the top. So John went on to explain to me that he moved out of the house at age 17, not because there was any animus towards his father, but that he simply felt that he knew it all and his father didn't know anything. I mean, these are the clear signs of a teen who is far too rebellious for their own good into the area of self-destructiveness. So the lack of a strong father figure to teach him the lessons of self-discipline, self-control, delaying gratification, what it means to be a man, coupled with an extremely authoritarian grandmother, led to very high levels of dysfunction and rebellion that got one brother in jail and the other, when he hit 17, moving out to essentially live eventually. Now, I'm not sure if I have the ages right, 17 or 19. He moved out, I'm not sure when, but at some point, moved out. Father, I know more than him. Then he moved in with his brother, he said, the accessory to murder brother. Not a wise choice. You generally are who you surround yourself with, right? So the brother came out of that household even worse off than him. Poorer self-discipline, poorer self-control, less ability to defer gratification. And so this is who he decided to shack up with. Then he went on to tell me he met a woman. Well, if you could call her that. Certainly not a real woman, but what's typical of modern-day women. They went on a vacation somewhere. She disappeared for days, was banging other guys, and just, disappeared. Then he went back home. She eventually reappeared, and he broke up with her, but then she dropped the bomb on him that she was pregnant. Yes, of course, he's having sex without a condom. He was very flip about it when I tried to push him on this and get him to take some responsibility. Just gave the old standard, oh, yeah, I was a moron. Yeah, he didn't take it very seriously at all. I get the feeling that that might have been a problem throughout his life, not taking life seriously enough, at least not his love or romantic life. Again, that's a throwback to his father, who he intimated to me, well, he made it pretty clear, actually, that his father was also something of a Lothario, just with a number of women, and he didn't really take relationships seriously after the mother left, so like father, like son. So this woman that he was going to break up with, who got pregnant, instead of just, finding a better woman and paying child support, he moved in with her for years and had another kid with her. Imagine that. So for this to happen, is that John himself has become a victim of feminism. He's been a victim of feminism all along. Turns out his mother was a career military woman. Yes, that's right. Sounds like a feminist to me. Left her husband for reasons I don't know. I wasn't able to get into that. Again, he wasn't very forthcoming with information. But independent, liberated woman, I can only imagine. She used the usual, I'm dissatisfied in my marriage, irreconcilable differences line to get out. That's when they always use, right? When they're dissatisfied. I don't feel fulfilled. Of course, I'm assuming, yes, she is the one that left. I don't know. He wasn't clear. He said she left. I'm not sure if she was the one that initiated the divorce, though. Probably was. It's generally speaking the woman. As I said, I didn't have a lot to go on. He didn't give me a lot of information. Helps when somebody is more forthcoming. But regardless, I'll work with what I got. So I moved in with this horrible woman who was not loyal, said he did it because he felt that that was what he was supposed to do, but usually that old shtick comes from people who essentially marry the other person. I don't think marriage is a good idea for men these days, but if that's why you're doing something, that's where you're getting with this woman and deciding to stay with her, because it's the quote-unquote right thing to do. Well, you have kids, the really right thing to do. In that situation, if you're really, really, really moving in with her and living with her because it's the right thing to do, is to marry her because that's what's best for the kid. But he didn't do that. Why not? Oh, he said that he didn't think she was loyal, and he didn't think that he could trust her. And of course, my answer was obvious. Well, you felt you could trust her enough to have a kid with her. Of course, this is all bullshit. Of course, deflection, right? To dodge responsibility. I just felt that what I had to do. No. Come on. You were just looking for easy access. You were looking for easy lay. You were looking for an out. You were looking for an excuse to essentially give up. Yeah, easy way. Yeah, I'll just get with this. All right, she had my kid. I'll just get with her. And so the people, it's amazing to me. People that age, they really don't know what they're going to be. They don't know what they're going to become. They don't look forward. They don't see what they could possibly be. It's just, this is all I can be. Okay. Yeah, I'll work at the 7-Eleven and have this kid. He's a successful guy now, but who knows how successful he could have actually been if he had made better choices when he was younger. Maybe even more so than he is now. But anyway, the relationship eventually fizzled out because, get this, the chick that he was living with, who he had 2 kids with, boffed his brother. Why? I don't know. We didn't get into that either. Again, he was very, I felt, resistant and even a little combative. And again, at one point, he made a very derogatory comment. I would even call it insulting. So that was when I knew I'm not going to get anywhere. And that's pretty much why I decided, I want to go into more detail on my own. I don't think the interview is worth airing at all. I think it's actually more productive because of his stonewalling and just, resisting my questions, and that his insult, that I just go into this on my own, separate the interview. Now, I can only speculate why she slept with the brother. Of course, women have the usual excuses. You weren't there. You're never around. I got lonely. He's probably working his ass off to pay for the wife and the kids. Shows how grateful she is. Of course, feminism has done its job on him, right? He had no female role model growing up because of feminism. Mother didn't stick around, needed to be liberated. Oh, this is too constraining being in this marriage. I gotta get out. And I'm tired of him judging me. I'm a free wayman. I'll drink all I want. I'm out of here. Feminism essentially destroyed his family, left him without a mother, left him without a positive female role model. And I think this is something that a lot of men these days don't seem to realize, is that what you get with a single mother these days is, in a sense, like having no female role model at all, because they're not role models, right? They don't act, the majority of these single mothers don't act like actual mothers. No maternal instinct, no empathy, especially if it's a boy that they're raising. No real parenting going on. Do the bare minimum. And what did John have? Well, John had a father who was a Lothario and an overbearing grandmother who just stoked up his rebellious fire to a point where he threw his life away very early on, at least probably the first 10 to 15 years, essentially hampering his own potential to thrive and succeed, and put his brother in jail for accessory to murder. So John himself is a victim of feminism. And when someone is a victim of something, they have to understand what they are a victim of, what was the cause of their issues specifically. They have to be able to put a name to it, a face to it. They have to be able to identify why it caused this problem. You have to know every specific aspect of the how and the why before you can fix the problem. And there was more that we weren't able to get to because he took it in a negative direction and, resisted my questions and got very negative. And so I decided that, that's enough. Second woman, had a third child with her, again, out of wedlock. I wonder if he realizes that it's the fault of feminism that he's getting with these types of horrible women. Because the only exposure he has to what makes a good woman is the very, very dim memory of a drunken mother who ran off when he was 5, an overbearing grandmother who acts in no way, shape, or form like a mother of any kind, be it grand or otherwise, and a father who is Lothario, who is just a skirt chaser. And if he didn't have kids, there wouldn't necessarily be anything wrong with that, but unfortunately he did have kids, so it's his job as a parent to teach his children what makes a good woman, what are virtues in a woman, to be an actual parent. And from what I got from John, his father was no parent at all. Was barely there even when he was there. So I wonder if John realizes that he's been playing by the feminist playbook all these years. I wonder if he realizes that feminism has been guiding and affecting his life since a very, very young age. Since he was born, in fact. I wonder if he realizes just how much of a negative impact feminism has had on his life, and just how many issues it has caused both him and his brother. And if he hasn't realized that until now and still doesn't, then how in the world could he possibly red pill his daughters to the dangers of something that he himself has been the victim of for much of his life? And I'm not sure that John has escaped the evil wiles of feminism. I'm really not, because of the resistance I met, because of the denial I met when trying to engage him on these important issues, because of the resulting negativity, which, by the way, was the kind of negativity and the kind of emotional-based attack that I would actually expect from a woman. So I honestly don't think that John has overcome his mother abandoning his family as much as he thinks. I do not think that he has overcome the negative effects of feminism via both mommy's departure and the overbearing man-like grandmother. I don't think he's escaped the clutches of feminism as much as he thinks, also because of the beta male cucked father who he's claiming was in no way, shape, or form a beta male, but this is a guy that lives with his mother. Draw your own conclusions. His father, I mean. How many alphas do you know that live at home with mom. Not too many. So I think that John might have more of his mother in him than he realizes or would like to acknowledge or even think about. And I think his resistance and denial on certain issues that were very clear-cut to me, especially the labeling of his father as exactly what the man was, and totally unable to see that, coupled with his emotional reactions and his very emotional derogatory remark toward me, tells me that feminism has done its job on John very well. I don't think he's escaped it at all, so I don't think he's in a place where he could red pill his daughters, and I don't think that John is red-pilled very much either, despite what he might want to believe. I'm sorry if this makes you angry, John. I'm telling the truth here as I see it, and that's all I can do. I think you need to sit down, think about what I've said, and take a good hard look at yourself. And if you'd like to talk again, I would be more than happy to speak to you, this time on a more solid footing, with a greater level of understanding of what it is I'm trying to achieve and what I'm trying to help you to achieve and get to see. Now, whether or not you want to do that, well, that's another question entirely. Only time will tell. And that's it. Yes, feminism is indeed evil. And I don't think people realize just how evil it is. They hear the word feminism and they just, wave it off as if it's no big deal. Yeah, that's just some man-hating broads. Or, yeah, feminism, it's just about equality. People take it for granted. So they don't really stop and think too deeply about what it actually is. It's cultural Marxism, nothing less. And its main goal in regards to men and women is making relationships completely untenable between them, while at the same time making the man completely and totally subservient to the women by weaponizing those women against the men, because men themselves are too logical, too critical in their thinking, too individualistic to be the useful idiots that the state needs. So how does the state control them? Through the women. And yes, this leads to the eventual downfall of whatever culture, society, civilization it's introduced into, but that is the whole point, with the hope that what will arise will be a wonderful, beautiful, communist utopia of equality, where equity, i.e. equality of outcome, reigns supreme. Yes, you all get to be equally miserable. So I hope all of you listening have a better understanding of the evils of feminism and how it can affect both men and women alike. From my story about my interview with John. If you enjoyed this live stream, well, if you enjoyed the prior part that was live streamed, this is recorded after the fact. But if you've enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you'd like to make sure you're always able to find me, you should also subscribe to my SoundCloud, where I'll be posting all this content along with the 54 episodes of my podcast that I've created prior to this. You'll find that link in the description, and also follow me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Gab. You'll find all those links in the description. For those of you who lost contact with me for some time, who thought I might have disappeared from making content, the reason you did is because you didn't follow me on these social media platforms before. You should now. And also, please consider donating to my Patreon. You can do that by going to therealistphilosopher.com/donate. That is therealistphilosopher.com/donate. And by the way, that's also my website, therealistphilosopher.com. Lots of nice, useful links there. And my email is admin@therealistphilosopher.com. That's admin@therealistphilosopher.com. You can, of course, call into the show whenever I'm broadcasting. But, of course, you'll have a much better chance of having a productive interview, a productive talk, if you send me an email beforehand to get my advice before you're on the show. And if you send that email, please go into as much detail as possible. And again, that's it. I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.